Hey, what's going on, guys? Desktop's Gaming here. Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Bitfenix Dawn TG. This is a case we've received from Bitfenix before. We want to do a showcase build on it. If you didn't know, we have an Instagram as well. It's over at Desktop's Gaming on Instagram, where we post all of these completed builds. We want to start doing more long-form content here on YouTube, just where you guys can kind of see the process of how we go through building and testing everything. So we're going to do an overview of this case today, but first let's see how this one went together.
Eyes were soft, touched the moon. Why did you leave me that soon? I can't wait to see you in the morning, in the bed where you're the king. Walking in the sand like nothing's wrong. I'm just trying to write you a song. The sun is going down, I am getting wild. Just can't remember the last time you smiled. I can help staring at you. I'm fine as long as you're mine. Coming up tonight, I'm falling apart. You're the missing king I wanted you by. Please come back to me, my dear, 'cause nothing can keep us apart. Please come back to me, my dear, 'cause nothing can keep us apart. You in heaven, then you just wanted to run. I know we could be perfect together. Be sure I can be yours forever. This is our last summer. I love you forever. Under the lights I can see your face. Above the stars I can see your face. I can help staring at you. I'm fine as long as you're mine. Green up the night, I'm falling apart. You're the missing king I wanted you by. Please come back to me, my dear, 'cause nothing can keep us apart. Please come back to me, my dear, 'cause nothing can keep us apart.
Alright, so hopefully you guys enjoyed the build montage, with a lot of fun putting that one together. Before we get into the case review, let's run down some specs real quick. For the processor, we went with the Ryzen 5 3600, this all on the XFF70 Aorus Elite motherboard. For memory, we have a 16 gig kit of the TForce XCalibur from TForce and Teamgroup. Thanks again for them to sending that over to us for this build as well. It's running at 3600 megahertz. Like I said, just a 2x8 gig kit. For the GPU, we went with the Aorus 2070 Super here. Really solid card, high performance card here. For the cable extensions you saw in the video, we actually got a set of the black and white ones from Ez-Diy-Fab. Really solid kit. Only runs about 30 bucks, and it gives you your EPS for the CPU, the 24-pin motherboard, and we actually two of the 8-pin GPU connectors as well. As far as the power supply, just one of the InWin classic 1250 watt power supplies. Way overkill for this build, but like I said, it's what we had on hand to use here. The fans inside the case, once we move inside the case, are from the same manufacturer of the case, Bitfenix. Like I said, these are the Specter ARGB fans. Really solid fans as well, super easy to connect. They just daisy chain together. So like I said, we'll show some footage here of just kind of putting those together as well. So pretty easy to manage, that you can just connect and kind of daisy chain the ARGB as well as the PWM pins on them to connect it back to your motherboard. And like I said, we had no problem running the 4 off of one header here. Wasn't an issue at all. Then we'll dive into the case itself here. Going into the case itself, we actually have a front and top dust filter here, so really easy to clean these guys out. This one will just slide out the top, and then we have another one that's right here in the front. So this one just slides out here as well. So super convenient. You don't have to worry about taking it away from the, if you have this sitting on your desk, you don't have to worry about pulling it away from your desk here to clean your filter. It slides out straight from the front. And then for the fans here at the top, easy to take out as well. Moving inside the case, and we'll show you some footage here, there's actually a few cable grommet and routing sections here. You actually have 3 at the top, and then there's 2 along the side, and then there's a few more cutouts toward the base where you would route your front panel connectors, the USB 3, HD audio, those type connectors. Those don't have grommets, but they're far enough down in the case you don't really see them anyway, so no issue there. Cable management, super easy as well. Like I said, we were a little more concerned when we first started looking at this case, because as you can see, the back panel, front panel, and the main front panel is all glass. And this actually is a pretty tempered glass, but we were worried about any cables possibly showing through. You can kind of see where the power supply is lighting up down there. But we were worried about, would that, have any issue of hiding cables back there. But Bitfenix thought about this. They actually put in the little cable management channel here. It actually has a little cover that will go over, so if you route all your cables kind of down through this way, it has a black cover here that'll cover that, embossed with the Bitfenix logo here. So you kind of move any kind of rat's nest you make over to the side here, so you don't have to worry about any mess kind of hanging out over this direction. And even if you did, because we still have our 8-pin EPS cable running down the side here, I've got it tucked in pretty close. But like I said, it's still tinted enough, even with that one being more white and black. It's harder to see through this tinted side panel. And then of course, kind of the main feature of this case, what caught our eye, definitely back when they showed it at CES, was actually the ARGB on the front and side here. This is just ARGB lighting here. It shines really well through the little display cutouts that they have. We were thinking it was some kind of screen, but no, when we first saw it, but no, it's like I said, just ARGB strips mounted on the sides here. There is a controller on the back, so you can route all of that through the controller and actually change it through the top of the case here. Or like I said, you can plug it straight into an ARGB pin header on your motherboard and use that to control it as well. And then you would just use whatever software that your motherboard had. In our instance, it's the Gigabyte, what do they call theirs? The RGB Fusion, which, every RGB software has its pros and cons, but this one does give you pretty good control over just being able to use what the case controller has on it if you don't want to use any software at all. So like I said, it makes it pretty easy to work with if you're just wanting to change it that way, or like I said, if you want to kind of sync with all of your other components, you can do that as well. Now that we have the case shifted around a bit here, we can talk about case thermals. Performance of this one was pretty solid overall. Like I said, you do have a pretty good bit of ventilation here through the side panel, and like I said, you do have that dust filter that's still going to block or come up against the inside 3 fans here we have mounted. So plenty of ventilation coming through here. Haven't really experienced any thermal throttling or anything like that. The 3600 and 2070 Super aren't super power hungry parts, so they don't generate a lot of heat. But like I said, we were kind of concerned with just having an all glass front panel here with just the side cutouts, but it was plenty adequate. For most of the tests we ran a just a blender render, and then we tried Cinebench R20 and just kind of let it cycle to soak the inside of the case as much as we could, and then just had a I believe we ran superposition on the 2070 Super here and just kind of let those flow for about 20-30 minutes just to kind of see how long it would take to soak the internals of the case. Usually after about 30 minutes, we were seeing temperatures of around 68, 69 C on the graphics card, and then we were hitting about 81, 82 on the CPU, which this is a smaller airflow cooler for Arctic, but like I said, it's still a dual 120 with a pretty solid heatsink. Like I said, we were running a slight all-core overclock as well on this 3600. So like I said, it wasn't running at straight stock, but even after 30 minutes, we never experienced any kind of throttling back or anything like that. Still had plenty of headroom to keep going if we needed to. But like I said, on the front there, like I said, it's plenty of airflow coming through. Like I said, we have an exhaust in the back as well, but the case does have mounting for up to a 240 or 280 up top as well. So say if you did want to run an AO instead, you could still have intake through the front, have your AO exhausting out the top and still have the main exhaust fan. Pretty easy tempered glass side panels to take off. So if you just set that to the side there, like I said, you can see it does have the thumb screws that we prefer, that they're you know, kind of retention to the actual door, so you don't worry about losing those or anything like that. But if you can kind of see inside the case here, and we'll show some more close-ups too. Like I said, there's plenty of cable grommets along the top and side here, so when we were hooking everything up, made cable management really easy. Like I said, we didn't have to really worry about trying to find a place to put anything, because like I said, you had plenty of spaces that do line up and make sense to run everything too. Like I said, 24 pin lines right up where it's supposed to be. Plenty of room here to bring out both of these 8 pins for our GPU, as well as the 8-pin EPS. And I like that the case is a little bit larger than that medium or mid tower form factor, because you don't have any kind of clearance issues getting the EPS cable through the top of the case here, because that can be kind of an issue on some mid tower form factor ATX cases. You can run into some clearance issues trying to get that EPS cable for their CPU in, and usually have to end up kind of pre-installing it before you can actually plug it in, slide your motherboard in, because you'll end up with not enough room to actually pass it back through. Overall, been a really solid performing case. Like I said, we want to thank Bitfenix and Teamgroup for sending Bitfenix for sending the case, and then Teamgroup for sending the XCalibur RAM over for us to test out. Like I said, had no issue hitting its 3600 megahertz speed, and we might even go back and overclock a little bit once we get a little more time to play around with it. Like I said, great build room here. Like I said, the one thing we didn't show in this setup was it does come with a vertical GPU mount. So you can mount this guy in a vertical GPU orientation. But what's really cool with this one is it actually takes over the stock horizontal mount. So you don't have to worry about it getting too close to that front tempered glass panel. Like I said, usually that's where you end up choking off the fan, especially for kind of a big 3-axial fan and cooler like this one has. It's a pretty thick card. So you can end up, if you have the regular vertical mount that brings it close to the tempered glass, you can end up kind of choking off a lot of the airflow there. So we really like the fact that this one has that included kind of conversion bracket. So you can just mount it to the regular horizontal slots, and it scoots it further back, giving it more room to breathe. And I'm assuming that would be the same case. You wouldn't have to really worry about that if you were doing this in a in an open loop style system. But it's still nice to be able to vertically mount a card, whether you're putting a water block on it or running it with its stock configuration. Like I said, overall, really enjoyed building in it. If you guys do have any questions about the case, like I said, just leave a comment down below, let us know. Again, just a reminder, we are on Instagram as well. That's where we post all of our completed builds when they are done. But like I said, we want to start doing a little more long form content over here, just to show you guys the build montages, where we can kind of put everything together, give a little more thoughts than what we can write in an Instagram caption. Like I said, we won't be predominantly here or there. Just wanted to have both mediums where we could be a little more interactive with you guys. So like I said, if you do have any questions about this case, like I said, we will be reviewing a few more from Bitfenix as well. So like I said, big shout out to them again, and big shout out to Teamgroup for sending us the RAM over this way. So again, appreciate you guys for stopping by and checking us out. Like I said, drop us a like down below, subscribe. Like I said, we're trying to get this thing picked up and going. We're a little over 20,000 now on the Instagram page, so really appreciate you guys kind of checking us out here. So like I said, again, thanks for coming by. Take it easy.